No think.
The Holy Trinity, Bermuda, Alaskan, and Bridgewater triangles. Some say even notable deaths. The significance of 3 is undeniable. You are to bear witness to yet another event. We're invited to join your hosts, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy, as they guide you down the rabbit holes of the paranormal and unexplained, striving for answers of this world and beyond. Welcome to Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Hey, everybody. Sorry about the delay.
I feel like
We
10
apologize.
hours late.
Oh my goodness. So we had some major technical difficulties, and a cool shout out to Jason McLean for saving us.
Jason McLean
Yes,
knows everything.
thank you so much.
Yes, he does. Exactly.
Yeah,
So thank him. Want to say hi to everybody, but I want to go ahead and get this show rolling. We have Aaron Thompson tonight, and some of you guys may know him from 28 Days Haunted. We personally know him from other ways too. So I'm going to not waste any time because he only has an hour to spend with us. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him up if I can. Add to stream.
Yes.
Yay!
Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. This is
Oh my
awesome.
God. I am so
Aaron,
sorry
there he
about that,
is.
Aaron.
Yeah, there's no apology needed. Everything's meant to happen for a reason. So that
Oh my
means
God.
whatever's going to be in the near future is exactly what needs to happen. I'm excited
Exactly.
for that. Choose your own adventure.
Well, unfortunately, I am out of town, so I'm on my phone, and I usually always use my laptop doing this. So
I'm on my phone
yeah,
too,
yeah. So
but I brought
anyway,
my lighting gear.
anyway, it's great to see you again.
It's good to see you all again. It's been October,
Yes.
I think, right?
Yeah, October.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
And what I
we're
meant to
into
do,
October.
I have some pictures of all of us with Aaron's banner and Jessica's banner. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. The other Aaron.
I know.
There
Yep.
we go. Brady Bunch
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah, there we go.
Right.
Wait, this way.
Yeah, all right.
That's gonna get
Yeah, I
confusing
totally
pretty
remember.
quick.
And I'm pretty sure there was a filter on those, if I recall,
Yep.
ladies.
We all looked real pretty.
Of
We-
course.
I
Did
look
you
like
just
an 80s
out us,
glam
Aaron?
rock.
Like,
If
you
I,
totally outed
10 years
everybody
younger.
with the filters. You can't out the Snapchat filters.
you know,
Right.
but it's when I have a dog ears, people are going to ask. Ah,
Oh,
man.
Shame.
so let's just start out by, if you want to tell everybody how you started, what you do, and then we can go on and talk about your show and what new things you have coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I started my, I guess, drive to actively pursue afterlife research back in 1999 because I didn't believe that stuff existed, and I wanted to take now I've been changing the verbiage. So I used to say logical a lot, and this has only been a new change, mind you. So I want to say natural. Now I got to take a natural look at things because natural makes a lot more sense than logical because logic can be diluted.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the natural flow of things is what I kept an eye on early on. Thought it was going to be a lot more psychology. Honestly, I thought us humans were cray cray, and we were just overly fearful of death. And I wanted to figure it out because I too was scared of death, and I didn't know what was going to happen when we go to the other side. I have a better idea now, I should say, but I wanted to challenge, I guess, the world's hardest puzzle. Yay me. So I thought it was going to take me like 3 years, honestly. Here I am 24 years later. A little harder, a little more complex than I originally thought.
Right.
And it's fascinating because just the discovery points, like I can make a whole book on my discovery points because they're such key elements, which really goes to a whole foundation of consciousness. That's the bigger picture. Breaking it all down with all my data over the years, it leads back to consciousness. It's how we interpret scenarios. We can go subatomic particle connectivity, which I'm in collaboration with the leading scientists of free electricity, but supposedly they have a device, a machine that they said that they'll give it to me. I just need to get to the West Coast. That reads subatomic particle connectivity, which is intent, prayer, well wishes, good vibes. So it's that high, high metaphysical kind of mumbo jumbo, but it's now ones and zeros. And I've always known it was going to go that way. But it's still front line and very unpopular in the overall science world. But, I'm doing what I can do. But
sure.
So I'm still doing this.
Yeah, still. How many years later? You said that was in the 90s and this is 2023.
Yeah. 24 years so far this year. It's 24 years in September if I pinpoint it right around that time frame of starting really quick.
So did you ever have any encounters, paranormal as a child or anything?
Not that I put to my foot forward in 1999. Hindsight, I overthought. When you're a kid, you're thinking overactive imagination. At least, let's say through someone who's thinking naturally, right? Someone who's thinking, oh well, this stuff, there has to be an explanation. Okay, so this is a fascinating story that was brought to me like fairly recently in the last 4 years or so, and when I was 5-6 years old, right around there, I was in this old house, middle of nowhere, Midwest. And I say that because there's no great oceans or any great bodies of water around here. And it was important to the story because one night when I went to go to sleep, I remember petrified, terrified of this assembly line of, it looked like a shipwreck crew, just coming in one at a time, hitting my bed, disappearing. Some of them look more mutilated, some just the clothes, some look fine, but they were all different. And I was seeing all of this, and I got to the rhythm so much, and I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't just close my eyes and say night night. So I remember catching the time frame of the pattern of when they would enter, and in between that moment, I finally jumped out of bed and ran to my parents' room. The neat thing is my mom and dad actually remember that experience of me in that terror. They didn't know the context of it. And I that's such a hyper, like, pirate type kid thing to think about. The details, I guess, were interesting, but now as I'm regurgitating this memory, I could have probably created, filled in the blanks throughout time, since there's no conception of time with our past memories, just memories at that point. However, I didn't tell anyone this, and a psychic, a friend of mine, read me one day, and she said, "Oh my God, Aaron, I just saw you die 7 times in a row." I'm like, "Oh my God, am I good? Am I good now?" And she said, "Shut up." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so she continued to read me. She said the last time that I passed away, and it was something with connection I had with someone else, a love connection type scenario that always finds me every life type scenario, which she found was interesting. Yeah. But the thing that I pulled out even more interesting is she said that the last place I died, I was on a ship, and I wasn't the captain, but I was someone of importance that people respected on there, diplomat of some sort maybe. But the ship went down. And about 6 months later, I kind of connected the two dots, and I mean, it's going to be near impossible for me to figure out what ship, what time frame, and I mean that stuff. But I gotta say, I'm fascinated. Like, that was an interesting connection. But yeah, I just want to share that story. So take that.
Well, that's an awesome story.
That's
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt, but I do want to. Yeah, I do want to give a shout out real quick to Be Kind. Thank you so much. We appreciate that very much.
Be
Thank you, Be
kind.
Kind.
You are like, you are, you know, you already know. You are my little, I love you. I just love you.
Well, I have to jump in real quick and say the other night, Be Kind was on with Beyond BMR, and
Really?
she has such a positive aura about her. She is fantastic.
Be Kind is wonderful. I have never seen her in person. I've never met her. Her and I've done readings for her, as she I'm sure she'll say, but she is just a wonderful soul. And real quick, I just have to say, Aaron, like, it feels weird saying that. I feel like I'm talking to the third person and being all like chauvinistic.
Don't blame me.
Aaron, real quick, like, you are just so wonderful. And honestly, like, I know that you were talking about your experiences as a child, but are you sure you're not like a little bit, like, are you a little bit sensitive, like a little bit? Because I'm not gonna lie, like, I pick every sensitive picks this stuff up, and you really from the first time I've met you, you have an aura about you that definitely says that you are sensitive. And I truly believe that sensitives are drawn to this type of line of work because it gives us answers. It makes the unclear clear. And I just was gonna just throw that out there that, I mean, you know, I understand that you were seeing things, and every child is sensitive, in my opinion, until they get older.
And I even have a narrative like that now, and before that, you know, connection.
So I just, but you do definitely have an aura about you, and you have a wonderful soul. You can see that through your aura as well. And so people should know that you have a very genuine, honest heart to you as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I think I saw a message come up saying something with his eyes aren't looking at the camera. He's lying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's lying.
Sorry,
Internet, am I right?
I was really trying to catch that. And you know what? I mean, people don't understand. We have met you in person. We've spent all day with you. We have talked in depth about the stuff.
The funny thing is, like, the more I talk about this, the harder it is. And it's funny because when I first starting off, I could make eye contact a lot easier. But the more I talk about this stuff, it sounds weird coming out of my head. And I know this. And it's hard for me to relate to people, to normal, to, you know. So I look away. It's a weird habit. And I gather myself and I think, man, it sounds weird, but I got to keep trucking forward.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'll just kind of make a quick comment about that. Psychologically wise, well, the weird thing is yes, I'm a medium, but I have a degree in psychology. And abnormal psychology and sociology, and you name it, I have that.
That's cool.
The thing is, though, is when it doesn't always mean that somebody is not telling the truth when they won't look you in the eyes.
And there's no real eyes to even look at this.
Uncomfortable aspect of their life. And also, from being a medium standpoint, and I just said, you know, asking you if you are sensitive, I know that when I'm reading things or I'm recalling things, I tend to gaze off because it's easier to tune in to what I'm discussing than to
real quick, Aaron, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to give a shout out to Paul Deal. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Thank you, Paul.
Continue.
Thanks,
Paul. Go ahead, Aaron.
To answer your question, by the way, earlier, claircognate.
Yes.
And mind you, I'm only regurgitating that probably for the first time on air with you here. Hey, today. The last couple years, I've had multiple times people message me and ask if I'm claircognate, or they say I'm claircognate. And the only reason I knew it happened twice is when I went to Google it again, it came up because I Googled it before. So clearly, it's been around, but it makes sense in a lot of behaviors throughout my time, and even when I got into this field, it's, I mean, it's cool to know things with not knowing them, but it's also super frustrating.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely. I mean, this is not necessarily a gift. It can be extremely frustrating. It can be emotional. It's a roller coaster, essentially. And then when you add, research on, investigating on top of that, it adds another layer to it. So, I mean, just telling you from one sensitive to another who does do paranormal, I applaud you, because it's difficult. It's very difficult. You become very attached and very drawn to certain areas and people and everything. And it's very difficult to try to put things into categories. So,
and you bring up a great point there. And I think throughout the time frame of me not really recognizing, maybe in my mind, I'd call it a superpower here and there, or, I would recognize it differently. Right. I believe I focused on the idea of the science as my obsession. So that's been able, because I'm able to walk away, though I do feel deeply in a lot of places. But when we're talking about like the science aspect of it, or the idea, or us really getting like, this is real, like that's when like abnormal passion, I think, comes out. And I could say that the focus is maybe thrown there, because I'm like, why don't you guys understand this? Like it's metaphysical and science. They're married, they're together,
Absolutely. I 110% agree. And I think that was why I was drawn to the degree that I was in, is because there's the science part of it. I'm very interested in it. I like disproving. I like debunking, because all it does is it helps what I do know and what I can find. So, it really helps me clarify those things. And so I think it's great that you're researching all of those psychology tactics, those, the scientific part of it, because really, I think people need to realize that being in this field, like what you did on your show, being in a location for an extended period of time, that is a scientific experiment. We have, our medium,
our focus, our subject,
have the spots, and it really helps, like the show that you were on, really show what goes on in a normal setting for people who live in a home, not just spend 3 days and capture bits and pieces of, the best spots, but live in a home where things tend to settle down. And then what happens, those big moments. So I just love that you were so scientific with all of this, and it's really great.
And and thanks for bringing that up, because a lot of the data, mind you, that I probably would have ran with, unfortunately made the cutting room floor. They just didn't make the edit. There's a lot of good stuff. What was shown was entertaining. It was good. I thought it was a great buildup. And one of the neatest things with science itself is and you said, disprove and debunk it. And we want to make sure that there's a natural explanation, right, for things that we experience. Science is, or the wonderful thing in science is, you can't actually disprove anything scientifically. You can only prove the existence of something. And so I go in with that mentality. And there's also, with the paranormal, there's personal experiences. That's something that's another layer, another category that I have to address. And of course, that's when psychology comes in play, and all sorts of, is it mass hallucination, pareidolia? What is it?
Right. Oh yeah. We you have your theory, but you always have your outliers.
Yeah.
Yes.
The very first time I met you was at the Ray County Museum. You came and was with Dave Glidden and his haunted history documentary that he did on the Ray County Museum. So I knew from that moment I liked you.
No, that's great. And we went to your stables. You have stables, right? Or a ranch?
Yes, the ranch.
Yes. We went to the ranch afterwards, which I want to go back to. It's It looks like a load of fun, and my little girl, I think, would love it there.
Well,
Oh,
let
yeah.
me tell
It's
you
every
about
girl's
the
dream.
ranch. So there's been like Bigfoot encounters out there.
Some what?
Bigfoot encounters.
What? My gosh, that's not even my category, but let's do
Right?
this.
Yeah,
There's
that's what I'm saying.
we've had paranormal experiences there too. We did
You
an
been to the ranch?
investigation there. Yeah, we did an investigation there once where I did the Essex method, and
Okay.
man, it was crazy. Me, Krista, and you remember Kathy from the
Yes,
museum.
yes.
We all were like, woo, what the heck is going on? And we did a mini investigation and then investigated after that. And yeah, there is paranormal activity out there. I mean, it's an area where it was at one point part of a plantation. I mean, that has a lot of residual energy and just, that. But yeah, we'd love to have you guys back out there.
Yeah,
That'd be
for
cool.
sure. For sure. So on 28 Days Haunted, we had Jeremy Leonard on the show 6 months ago.
I'll see him in a couple weeks.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. I actually studied demonology under him, as did Brandy. But we he was telling us that you guys totally went in there blind. Like you couldn't talk to anybody. Yeah. They took your phones. Can you tell us a little bit about that, how it impacted you?
The worst impact for me was they took away all the clocks, so there's no clock. I had no wristwatch.
Oh my
now,
God.
By the way, I bought a wristwatch that you wind up, so no smart needed. It could disconnect. And yeah, so it was just disorienting because I'm like, what time am I waking up here? I got to learn the sun, what? Yeah, just
sure.
We were blindfolded. So about 3 days before we flew out there to do the job, I officially got hired about a week and a half before filming. About 3 days, we got the plane tickets to go where we're going. So 3 days. And then when we landed there, I mean, we were picked up from the airport and just driven. So we didn't really pay attention to any routes or anything like that. And black van was kind of waiting for us. We got to stay a night at the hotel first. And then next morning, pretty much a black van. Actually, there's a couple black vans out there, the crew and stuff. I remember walking out because I just got done with like lunch or breakfast or something like that. I'm drinking a coffee or something very casual. And I'm just thinking, something's happening there. It seems pretty fancy.
Right.
What? And then you're like, oh, that's for me.
Yeah. It took me a beat. And I'm like, oh, they're here for me. I recognize him. Okay. All right. They're going to blindfold me. I better grab my luggage. Get my gear. Get my proton pack. But yeah, they blindfolded us and drove us around for like 45 minutes. So we had no clue. And then our first live view was really what you guys saw. And there was isolation. I mean, it's like Big Brother cameras. We had no cell phones. If you did see a cell phone, it was like a burner cell phone. I actually have it. I'm in a haunted location right now. It's in the other room, but it just has like apps and stuff on it. It doesn't have any phone capabilities.
Right.
Wow.
But yeah.
Old school.
So I know you have a daughter. How difficult was that not being able to see her or talk to her even for those 28 days?
It was tough. It was weird. I remember at one point, and I can't tell you what week it was, because it was so disorienting. I remember looking out. I was having some coffee here, and I was looking out the back window. I was right underneath one of the robo cameras, and the camera probably could have got a good shot of me. I'm looking out the window though, and I'm thinking, am I ever going to leave this place? Is this a joke? Some weird Truman Show thing? Like,
right.
Are they really paying me? No, but
right.
I mean, I had no clue. It was an odd situation. And what I did with my daughter, she was 3 at the time, and I made 5 videos. One at the airport, a couple at the hotel, a couple random, about a minute long, a little bit more. And I asked her mom, I sent all the links, hidden YouTube link to her mom, and I go, can you please show her this once a week? Or,
yeah.
So it was awesome. Just me saying, hey, it's your it's daddy, baby girl, I love you, I miss you, hope you're treating mommy well, and I heard you got a cold, I just typical stuff. Make sure I say her name and acknowledging her and telling her,
Awesome.
you know.
That
So that made me feel better that
Yeah.
was out there.
Yeah.
that is so cool. That, I mean, what a good dad. Like,
Thank
really,
you.
that's really wonderful. And because it's hard when we're doing things like this because we are gone so much, or
Yeah.
we're trying to balance all of that. So that's a really cool way to do that. So I have to commend you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was a last minute kind of think, but I was like, I have to do something.
Right, right. Can you tell us a little bit about the location and, did you know the other people when you went there and
Right. Well, Nick and we kind of were the package deal. We both knew each other. That was, I don't say gimmick, but we knew each other. We had relations. So we investigated each other since 2009. So a lot of history there. And Sean was the only new one. The demonologist. We didn't know him at all. We met him the day of. We all got into the van all together. So
cool.
Yeah.
And where was the location they put you at?
Preston, Connecticut. It was a city, and we were at Captain Grant's Inn. It was built in 1754. And
wow.
And I know that it was really, really tough for them to give like the full narrative. And I'm sure all the teams were like, oh, they could have did this, and this. Sure. Honestly, I'm thankful for the exposure. I'm thankful they didn't destroy my character. They did be fine. It's kept me kind of neutral, which I'm fine with. Definitely the doors have opened, which is super cool. And I don't know. We had an incredibly sad story, real quick with Mercy Adelaide. There's a buildup. We caught these names and we started gathering this historical data naturally, which was really fascinating when none of us knew anything about this location. So Captain Grant, he went off to sea when he was 32 years old. He was a captain, he was old then.
Sure.
And there was a few different stories of him not returning because he died at sea. Either wreck, his crew went mutiny, but every story had him being shipped back in a barrel. That's the luggage that he I believe that's what he stowed. So or delivered. So we use the dowsing rods, which have actually a 99% accuracy in looking for underground canals, and that's where you kind of trace water. That's the original purpose of dowsing rods, with that small burst of static electricity. Which static electricity, fun fact, is also a phenomena. The science doesn't know all the ions behind that, but nonetheless, the tool was used for that, and about 99% accurate when going over by grave markers. If there's someone buried, they cross, and if it's not buried, it kind of goes straight or goes limp.
Sure.
Well, we went Mercy Adelaide. We went across hers and it crossed, and we went across. Or Nick actually was the one who was the control with the rods. He went across Captain Grant's marker and burial 3 times, and each time they did nothing. And we tried them on other areas, and the other areas crossed. It was the only one that would not cross. So that explains a lot. There's a lot of EVP and spirit box communication that was dropped out of it. But what we caught there was my captain, I'm waiting for my captain, along those lines. We refer to him as his captain. So she lived to like 84 years old. So she lived actually 28 years old when he went out to sea, to 84-ish years old. She was waiting at that house for her captain to return. She had that love story is just heartbreaking if you think about it like that. And she's still there on this land, which this land actually had a brutal history associated with it. Connecticut itself was worse than the Salem witch trials in the 1600s, far worse than the 1700s. They got their act together and things got peaceful, and then it went to Salem, but it was pretty brutal. So a lot of witch style stuff, and there seemed to be a witch style entity that we were combating there. that I felt could have been illustrated differently. But yeah, maybe they'll release another cut someday.
Wow. Wow. So just staying there, you know, what was your greatest, I guess, the most disturbing per se experience you had while you were there?
I got bit, and I use that term as if I got struck by lightning in a sense, and again, not figuratively lightning. Day one, I would say was truly our most active day. And again, it doesn't, that would have threw off the narrative, but we kicked the door down and we took names right away. We nailed it. Our devices were hitting. It was also the only night that it did a thunder and lightning storm. It was crazy. It was straight up out of a horror movie, right? We couldn't even, we could never of naturally, you know, everything happens for a reason type thing, right? So the house is getting drenched, poured down with this rain. So now we got running water literally over our house, super haunted house. And we're jacking up the whole house with our electrostatic generator. So we're giving it our all. And then we decided to do solos in the house. I for some reason, I feel like that might have been my idea. I don't know, but I was the first one to volunteer to go solo. So those two stood out in the rain or wherever they stood. And I went into the attic. I put a tripwire, which is basically a bunch of K2 meters on a rope around me. And I took my little Ghost Bear upstairs, and I had a couple of the cameras, the robo cameras on me, and the handheld was towards me. And I'm just talking to the abyss with the spirit box and assumptively having conversation. And then all of a sudden, all the wires just like explode with light, like just boom. I look at the camera and I go, something's on me. I go, it's tight status around my chest. I go, it's hard for me to breathe. This is, I go, I'm actually fearful. I want to leave, but I'm going to stay in here to figure out what's going on right now. And I'm describing this as it's live, as it's happening right away. All of a sudden the lights go off. And again, you see the lights react, like pop again. And I look at the camera and I go, I'm fine. I'm good. That was weird. And I stay there for like another 5-10 minutes. But for the next 2 weeks, I'm becoming more depressed. I'm isolating myself. I'm getting more mad at the guys. I'm not participating. I want to leave. And I'm just not, I'm isolating myself. I don't know. It's weird. Right. It felt like a very natural mindset. There was an oppression, first stage of depression that was happening. And there's a moment where I was looking in the mirror, and again, all this stuff is caught. I mean, it was part of the moment. But I was looking in the mirror, and I'm moving my tongue. I'm rubbing my chin. I'm going like, like with my tongue. And the other two guys are like, what are you doing, Aaron? Kind of giggling. And I go, guys, my chin's long and my nose is long and my tongues look weird. It goes, I look like a witch or something. I got long hair. And I'm just describing. And so they're like, back away from the mirror, dude. And Sean goes, have a seat. Well, I'm getting really mad in my head. Like I'm boiling up. I'm really mad at Sean for even suggesting this, because I'm thinking they want drama. The cameras are on them, blah, blah, blah. This is the perfect time for drama. I was just analyzing it like any other investigator would. So I'm sitting down, and then he asks Nick, well, Nick, you've been with him longer. Does he look different? I'm thinking Nick's going to say, nah, he's fine. Let's move on. But no, Nick goes, no, Aaron does look different. So now in my head, I'm getting really super mad at both of them, but I know I don't want drama because I'm not a drama guy. So I looked at Sean before my top explodes, because I'm feeling it. Come on. And I go, get the water. So he goes to get a bottle of water, and I go, no, get the water. Holy water. He has a suitcase of it. Demonologist, go fig. And of course, he goes, oh, now things are getting real. So he goes upstairs, and I just wanted to go to the top, right? Just throw the water on me, find out nothing's wrong, and we'll move on and continue with the investigation. So he goes, oh, and throw this on you, and then you repeat after me St. Michael's prayer. And mind you, I'm a 1-0 guy. I'm not sure what the label is, but science is a big step with me. So he throws it on me, and I kid you not, it felt like battery acid. It felt like acid. It hit my skin, super hot. And of course, I say profanities right away. And I And I started repeating the same, because he gets into prayer right away. So I start repeating it, and I'm cussing through the entire prayer, almost like a third, consciousness head's like coming out, and I'm not saying controlling it. It was that my actions, but there was definitely a weird feeling with it.
Sure.
I remember Nick was in the corner around the camera, and he goes, "I don't think that's in the prayer." I remember I actually laughed. Like in the middle of this like weird thing that's happening, I kind of laughed. Like, really? That's what you got to say after all this? But I'm literally feeling the static net release, like start at my feet, and it started like it was pulling up over me. So my legs, were starting to feel better. It gets around my waist. It's starting to feel better. My stomach, my chest, out until it pops out of my head. I jump out of my seat. And I immediately go, guys, I'm happy now. And I looked at him. I go, the reason I'm saying this is because a second ago, I was pissed at both of you guys. I was not happy. I haven't been happy. I'm happy now. The contrast is what sold me. The big difference on how I felt that instantly. And I told them, I remember, I go, I'll analyze this in the morning. I don't know what happened. Thank you, Sean, for doing what you did. Let's continue investigating. From there on out, I was able to take care of myself better. I just got bit early on before. And again, so with doing this, and even you guys who were more psychic practice, the energy itself, the consciousness, there's no lie. There's nothing that the mass doesn't know. So it knows what character to take out of play right away. And I was a big character to take out of play right away, because I would have been on these experiments. I would have been illustrating this and this, but with me not knowing what I was into, and I typically put up a good passive protection. I'm my own protection. So I tell people, conviction and confidence. I've done it for this whole time. I've been fine. Well, put me on a TV show. I'm excitable. A lot of cameras around. I kind of lose my mind for a second, and now it's raining, and I'm in this crazy, scary house by myself. My guard was down, and I didn't know how to interact. The first big interaction was me getting bit right away, where I had no chance to even know. Also, that same night, my bed shook, like straight up, like I was sleeping. All of a sudden, I woke up, and the cameras are on our bed. So I was hoping that would have been in there. But anyways, I was shaking, and I remember waking up, going, "Wait, where am I? Am I in a hotel? Am I in my house?" I'm going through all these things. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm doing this weird TV show, and I'm in a haunted house." So I threw up my hand so they could tag the area, and I went right back to bed. Rock me to sleep. I am tired, guys.
Right.
Wow.
So, yeah,
That's
that was an
crazy.
impactful moment. And we had like a superhero storyline after that, because we came together as a team. I ended up I took over a lot of leading spots after that, which was neat, because I was back to my normal self, and dictating some flow at least. And we all came together and worked together after that. And it was like a superhero thing where we just stopped this evil entity. It could have played like a superhero show. It really had the opportunity.
Yeah. Brian said that it doesn't sound like a human spirit to him. That was, in my opinion, a malevolent entity is what he's thinking.
Yeah. And the thing with that, and I agree with that, Brian. So on my side, so with my dad and my research, we created our own monsters, right? So in this case, this monster was created that was not a very humanoid scenario. And and it kind of sounds almost asinine that I'm saying we create our own monsters. That's contradictory in a lot of things that people do. But when we pass away, and think of it really, really briefly, and this is scientific, and this is fact, 100% fact right here. When we pass away, we don't take our legs with us, right? We don't take our liver with us. We don't take our hair with us. We don't take our teeth with us, our heart with us. I said heart one time. People were like, "What? We don't take our heart?" I'm like, "No, I'm talking about the organ." Right. We don't take that with us. So, but then I ask, why on earth would humans feel that we take our limbic system or our lobe with us? Our lobe, which 100% control hate and love completely. All systems and values are created out of. Again, it kind of goes into a deeper conversation on that scenario, but it pulls more towards spirits and ghosts are out there, but they tend to be a biological reaction of the consciousness separating from the vessel upon expiration, leaving like an echo or imprint. Smartphone with AI capabilities, a pure emotional stain, something that sheds when we're gone. So Gram's perfectly fine, but Metallica got it right. Memory remains. So
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's a lot of things that can connect with that knowledge base, but that's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome.
So
Good deal.
this whole show is based on Ed and Lorraine Warren's theory that you have to spend 28 days,
Right.
you know, in a haunted area to actually experience it. Do you believe that's true now?
No, not in their overall context theory of staying here 28 days. And something that I've built on for even years prior to this, of course, not before I only found out the 28-day haunted theory as a theory. I guess I've heard of those numbers and those dates, but I didn't know how stuck that was with Ed Lorraine. I've always said something along those lines called rapport. You want to build rapport with the area. You want to be familiar with the area. That's why I said, we had our best time our first night there because we knew, well, we combated with everything we had and we had reaction. And if you think about it, we're engaging it heavily every night. It's not us just sleeping in the house, calling it a day. We are on it. Minuscule break time. It was exhausting. Talk about a paranormal hangover or a ghost hunting hangover. Oh my gosh. It lasted over 6 months for me. I was out of it. It was so weird. But yeah.
I personally think that the 28
work,
days. I think that the 28 days is really more maybe relating to people who live in a haunted home.
Perhaps.
I know, like my house, I have activity in my house. It's not constant.
Right.
It goes through waves. It will be very active at certain points. And then it kind of dies off. And then it's almost like once you start to get comfortable with the not active, that it bumps back up. And so I kind of feel like Ed and Lorraine Warren were kind of basing it off of that. What is the natural feel when you are living in a home? And what is the natural ebb and flow of what a haunting is? Yeah.
Yeah, and I could say we were living just fine. It was really when we were hitting the house is when things were starting to react more.
It's when you're new and you're really like getting in there and you're investigating, because a normal person like myself, even though I do investigate, I don't investigate my own home.
Yeah,
personally, you don't poop where you sleep. You just you don't.
I do poop where I sleep sometimes. I had a lab in my condo. So poor new owner of the condo. He's like, man, the doors keep closing and opening by themselves. Weird. Call maintenance.
Weird.
I got testing to do, guys.
All of us being paranormal investigators. We went into the same location, a bunch of times. But we'll always have that one time that nothing ever happens. It's just like you're sitting there all night going, okay.
Twiddling your thumb.
It's just.
Yeah.
We get those nights. I guess the thing I say is like the spirit boxes. I always get something, even if it's brief, something consensual or contextual off of a spirit box or EVP or whether it's the apps or a Frank box or whatever the case may be, we get something that we can walk away with. And to me, that hits that paranormal scenario. But let's say we take away the box, the communication, tool. Then you got me thinking, like, that would be fascinating because I say I'm 100% accurate because I use the stupid boxes. We get something, right? But if I take away the boxes, what's that percentage look like now? Because yesterday I was doing a TikTok. Take away
your electronics and see what happens.
Yesterday I was doing a TikTok, right?
There you go.
So, because marketing, and it's weird and awkward to dance in front of the camera, but hey, whatever. Yes, TikTok. So I'm in this giant haunted building often. I make my rings here. It's a really cool place. I do a lot of practice. I'm practicing with some applications and some other experiments. And this is kind of my research base. So I was doing TikTok and I messed up like twice on the TikTok. So I had to do it a third time. So I had a little bit of frustration and I go, oh, because I knew I had to do a stupid TikTok again. I hate TikTok, but whatever. But right when I did, I heard this big old, just louder than that. That was actually pretty dull. The metal doors that were right by me just slammed. So that either A, it felt my frustration on doing another TikTok, or B, it wasn't a fan of my TikTok, since like not again. But I remember saying, well, sorry guys, I got to do the TikTok. Hate it or love it, I'm going in. Right. And then I ended up sitting down for like 20 minutes with the spirit box session afterwards going, let's talk about this, guys. I'm here for you. I'm sorry about my TikToks.
So what are you just under Aaron Thompson on TikTok?
That's Tisme Aaron G. That's mashed on all my social. Actually, AaronGThompson.com is the website. And from there, you can go everywhere. Even my OnlyFans. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding.
Oh, I was gonna say,
please be kidding.
Yeah, no. I'm not. Yeah. Exactly. You know how many DMs I get asking where that is?
See him.
Yeah.
I see him on OnlyFans going, look at my spirit box.
Yeah.
Look at my spirit box.
OnlyFans was actually meant for like fanatics, like other things other than what it's used for. So I thought about building up an OnlyFans and like a ghost show or whatever on there. But I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want.
You're stepping into a puddle that
it's like a joke that would go too far. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You're like, okay, I'm only going to show my feet today.
While I'm investigating, I'm going to show my feet right here.
I'm like,
right.
Yeah, you like that?
Soon I'll be that naked ghost hunter guy, right? I'm naked and afraid.
That's funny.
So, Aaron, what do you have coming up? What are you going to any events this year? What new shows? What do you have coming up?
Come on, Aaron. What you got going on? I know.
Oh my gosh, all the things, everything. USA tour. So next week I'll be in it's the Haunted. I'm gonna mess up the name again. It's Blenner. It's the hotel. It's in Parkersburg. Why can't I think of the name? It's in Parker. It's on AaronGThompson.com. But it's in Parkersburg, West Virginia.
We can always post those. If you give us the dates of things, or just let us know what you're doing, we can always post it on our page too. Because I know how hard it is to sometimes pronounce those names because they are usually people's last names and they don't make sense.
This one's German, and I should know this one, but it's in West Virginia. It's in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Then I have 2 in South Carolina the weekends after. I'm actually keynoting an event of Ryan Buell, Paranormal State. He hosted an event, reached out to me, and he's flying me out to. I'm keynoting his event, which is like mind blowing.
That's fun.
And I'm big speakers on some of the other locations. And then I have some cool places or a cool place in April, and then throughout June and July, and hopefully from there, people are going to see, oh, this guy has some value. Maybe we need him for our place, and then we'll get more because I need to pay the bills too.
Where do you live in, Aaron?
I live in Illinois.
So how close are you to Malvern Manor?
About 5 hours.
Well,
I've been there a few times.
I was going to tell you, we're holding an event there, Blondes and Boozes, and when Josh Hurd is going to stay around and investigate and stuff with us, love to invite you if you want to come. I believe it's July 8th.
Information. Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
It's a cool place. Very cool place.
I've been there. I shot a lot of stuff there. Very cool place.
Yeah,
super awesome.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I'll message you I'll message you next week off camera about all that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, well, very cool. Do you have any upcoming TV shows or anything coming up?
I can't talk about
Right?
that.
You
Oh
can't
my
say.
God, guys. I'll
We
message you off
already
air.
know
No, I'm just
that
kidding.
answer, Krista. He has to keep
There's
that.
things pending. Always pending, right?
Okay. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. I know you told me you only
see
had an
more
hour.
of
We'll go with that
Aaron
for now.
here soon.
For now. Yeah, for now.
For now, you will see more of him.
Let's see season 2,
Yes.
right, guys? No, don't give it.
So real quick, Aaron.
Yeah.
I do have to say that in 28 days, I've seen you do other things, other documentaries, blah, blah, blah. I have to say I was a little disappointed because I've seen you do more and you know, and I'm really impressed with your work. So I was kind of, you know, let down that they didn't show all that. I'm just saying.
You know,
I'm just
thank
saying.
you for saying that. That means a lot to me. There was actually a couple of critiques that that actually crossed me. I wasn't tagged in them, but they crossed me because I was, you know, obsessed with looking at reviews and whatnot. And the critiques were they didn't like the show, but they underutilized Aaron G. Thompson. I was like, oh, well, people. He said, you know, I met him one time here and there, and he has things to say. And truthfully, I did say a lot. I did speak a lot, but I would contradict the story that they were showing. You know, they went their way. Well, things happened the way they happened, but whenever they get to me, I wasn't too much drama. Spoiler: the cry. I didn't cry. I cried on day one when they talked about a past loved one who died, but somehow they smashed that
They were
into
able to just
Nick.
smash
Yeah,
into there
perfectly.
Yep.
All the like I watched the TV show the second day that it was out. So mind you, friends and family and people are all seeing it the first day. And I'm getting these text messages and they're like, oh, I felt so bad for you. And I'm thinking, what happened? What they kill me off? Like, what's going on? My green screen? So I finally saw my family and I'm like, oh, I see why they're sad. Even my dad at the time goes, Aaron. I'm like, Dad, hold on to that thought. I don't think I cried there. Let me think about this.
Right.
But,
Well, Krista, we're at 52.
Yeah. Hey, Brandy, you can tell everybody where they can catch shows this week?
We're at 52 already, hon. Do we need to take a break and then I'll come back and do that?
No, Brandy, Brandy, tell everybody where they can catch Texas Front Porch shows this week. Will you please?
Absolutely. On Monday at 6:30 p.m. Central, you can catch Texas Front Porch. You can catch me in text. You never know what you're going to get over there. It's always a surprise to me. We have a special announcement on Monday, so make sure you catch that. Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, you have Van Beer and Variety. At 8 p.m. Central, you have Bigfoot Michigan Rob with Beyond BMR. On Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central, you can catch Jason McLean's Questions Everything. Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, you can catch Blondes and Booze. And on Friday, you can catch Blondes, Booze, and the Woo at 8 p.m. Central.
Perfect. Aaron, I know you got to go, and I appreciate you coming on and doing this. Maybe in the fall, we'd like to have you back again.
Please. Oh, this was so much fun.
Thank you so much.
I like that.
Yes, Aaron, you're awesome.
You're a cool dude. We like you.
You have a good energy to you. You're wonderful.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you guys in the future too.
Yes, absolutely. It was fun. It was fun. We just need to be able to talk longer.
Yes. I'm getting messages from grandma who has a little girl going, she's asking where are you?
Right. Like, I get it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and tune in Monday night to Texas Front Porch. He's got a special announcement, so don't forget to tune in. And thank you, everybody. And Brandy, get well. Aaron, I'll talk to you later. And you, Aaron, I'll talk to you later too. See y'all.
Bye.